Hi, my name is Matt Thorne from Digital Beanstalk, and today I'm going to talk about three simple things you can do to make your brand rock and stand out in a crowded arena. So first, what is your brand? So here I'm going to steal a phrase from Jeff Bezos. So your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. So what does this mean? So first of all, you've got who you say you are. So this includes your logos, image styles, colors, fonts you use, any of the language in your marketing or website, your business personality, and if you're a small business owner, your personal brand can also come into this. Then you've got how your target market, how your customers actually perceive you, and this combined forms your brand. All right, so over the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to talk about how you can influence your brand. So it's that first section is who you say you are. So first thing is we're going to make sure we define your ideal target audience. Then we're going to look at how you keep all of your marketing messaging consistent and how you describe your products in a way that people actually care about. First, target audience. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that you defining a target audience does not mean you exclude all other customers. All this is that you basically want to get the most enjoyable customers, the ones who are least pain in the ass, and of course, the ones who are most profitable. So what we're really looking for is someone in that Goldilocks zone. Now, you've probably got quite a few different audiences that you're targeting. Now, to narrow this down, this is a task that we do with all of our clients before we do a branding project with them. It just helps narrow down who is that ideal audience for you. So what I want you to do is just get an A4 sheet of paper and split it up into columns. On the first column, I want you to write down 5 different audiences and also maybe the person within that business if it is a business that you're targeting. Then next column along is going to be, can they afford you? It's all well and good working with people who have no money and make you feel great. However, long term, this is not going to work out very well for your business plan. So what we want to do is just on a rating of 1 to 5. 1, they really can't afford you at all. 5, they could afford you easily. Just go down and rate each one of those audiences. Next column, big outcomes. Can you make a big difference for them? Again, if your product or service only makes a minor impact on their business and their outcomes, they're not really going to be drawn to you as much. What you want is someone that when you come along, your services, your products make an absolutely massive difference to them and completely transform the way that they're getting business or makes their life so much easier. So again, scale of 1 to 5, 1, not a huge amount of difference, 5, big, big difference. Go and rate each person. Now, next column, decision makers. Can you actually get access to that person? Now, it might be as easy as picking up a phone and just calling them. You might already have their number, their email address. That would be great. But a lot of the time, this is not the case. So can you get hold of them on LinkedIn or Facebook marketing? Can you just walk into a shop and meet them? So again, on that rating of 1 to 5, where 1, it's really, really difficult to get hold of these people. 5 is you can just walk up to them, you've already got their contact details. We've got one extra column here, which is a deal breaker. If you are going to be marketing to people, if it's to an industry that you really don't have a passion for, you really don't care for, then it's going to come across in everything you do. What I would recommend is just scrap off that entire audience and just forget about them for now. Now, what I want to do for everyone that's left is go and actually total up the score. So you should have anywhere up to 15, obviously 15 being your ideal target audience. Now, this is not clear cut and hard and fast. You might want to actually judge or use your own judgment to see which one is ideal. So next, once we've actually identified our ideal target audience, you actually want to make sure any messaging you bring across to them is kept consistent. Nothing worse than your marketing efforts being all over the place. Your client doesn't really know who you are, what you're about, or any of your key messaging. You need to develop a brand personality. What we use for this is called brand archetypes. So they're 12 universal character types that are recognized globally across all cultures. These are what big brands use to keep their marketing and their messaging consistent, really make them stand out and make them unique within the marketplace. Now, when you're discovering your own brand personality, just be aware that you might want to, or you'll be tempted to just associate with who you think you are. What you really need to do is actually think about how your target audience view and who they're going to be most attracted to. That's who you want to project who you are. As I said, there are 12 character types here. I'm not going to go through all of them today. All I'm going to do is give you one as an example. In the messages below, you will be able to get a link to actually download a little booklet that lists all 12 of these in detail. So what I'm going to do today is just go through the Explorer brand. So the Explorer is someone who seeks out new things, new adventures, wants to go where no one else has been before. And it's all about who they become and the journey they take and who they become on the way. So to give you a bit of example, I'm going to use Jeep as their absolute classic Explorer brand. So if you look at their advertising, sometimes they are just literal, they use the word explore in their ads. It's very clear, very obvious, who they are trying to target with this. So you can see here in another marketing campaign is minimal use of language or logo, doesn't include the Jeep at all. All they're doing is creating feeling of being an explorer. Why visit a zoo when you have a Jeep? This is what you could have. And that's the messaging they're really trying to bring across here. And again, just this third marketing campaign, where there's a Jeep, there's a road. It uses their brand promise that Jeep forges new paths. So here you can see across multiple ad campaigns, they've kept the same message. They've reinforced feelings and outcomes that basically owning a Jeep allows you to be an explorer. So why should I care? Or more importantly, why should your ideal target market care about what you do? At the end of the day, people don't want your product or your service. Now, if we go back to the Jeep example, most people don't want to fundamentally own a Jeep. What they want is the possibility to go into woodwork. It allows them to become an explorer. It's exciting. So you need to remember that when you're doing your own marketing, you need to make sure you're explaining this, make sure you explain what's in it for them. And for that, we use what's called the FBI matrix. FBI matrix, so it's feature, benefit, implication. Feature is fairly simple. This is what you do, this is your products, your services, so just list them down. Now, the benefit is this is the direct thing they actually get from it, is what is it they'll get as an outcome from going with you. But what we really care about is the implication. This can be the emotional outcome from someone. This can be the solution to what keeps them up at night. So for us, we create meaningful brands for our clients. But at the end of the day, we know that people don't really care about branding fundamentally. However, the benefit is they get great marketing documents, have clear visual identity, professional look, great looking business cards. But again, no one stays awake at night, worrying that the business cards don't look great. However, the implication of that is that clients associate this professionalism with high quality products, which increases their sales. So at the end of the day, I thought I was in the business of branding, but really all my clients want is to get more sales. Okay, so that was a very quick crash course in what we do with our clients when we start off a new branding project. So what you need to do now is create yourself a quick cheat sheet. So write these things down. So first, write down your ideal target market. Then what you need to do is actually go and research and explore what archetype you actually want to be. And then write down, why do people actually want to buy from you? And then use all of this in any marketing, in any social posts that you do. Then next step is get your branding in line with your brand. Okay, so to give you a bit of an example of what we do with our clients after we've gone through this process, this is Keysco. So Keysco are NLP practitioners, and we found out that their ideal target audience were business owners. And their core product is all about empowering people, leading them on a path of discovery. So they naturally fell into being an explorer brand, which we incorporate with language of let's start a journey, and also it incorporates into imagery using this journey path to frame people to reinforce the brand message. Now, trouble-free computing solutions was an interesting project. So there was initially an avatar that the owner wanted to keep the whole concept of, a nice friendly approach. We went through this process with Ben, and he flew through the process himself, and he would say, oh, it was easy. But that came out in his personality, and that he's everyman. And this is also really what his target audience was attracted to as well. Someone who is trustworthy, reliable, and just gets things done. And again, so it's making this process look easy. It's no hassle, no fuss, no trouble. Okay, so that was a bit of a crash course of what we do with our clients and our process. So what we've done to make this easier for you is created this free guide, free brand toolkit, which is very easy to follow, step-by-step guide for you to be able to do these exercises yourself. We've also got an archetype booklet in there as well, which lists all 12 of them in detail and exercises you can do to actually determine the best archetype for you. And all of the worksheets that I've shown in this presentation are included in there as well. To get this course, very simple, just go to dbean.cc/I met Matt.